There's 5 steps. Let's look at the 5 steps of facilitating. Step number 1, the first thing we're going to do is if we met last week, we're going to talk about our action step. Because everything in this boils down to the action step. So we take 1 minute, starting with the facilitator. If that's me, I take 1 minute. I say, hey, last week, my action step was this. Here's what happened. And I'm just honest. If I didn't do it, I didn't do it. If I didn't do it the way I wanted to do it, I didn't. If it was successful and it brought me great results, I share it. Step number 2, everyone takes turn reading aloud the paragraphs in that week's law or value. So I'll start. I'm the facilitator. I'm going to read. As we read out loud, we all underline. Then we're going to go to the next person, and they read. And as they read out loud, we underline. And we keep going till we get to the end. Once we get to the end, we all take 1 minute to share one thing that we underlined and why. So if I'm facilitating, I start. I read one thing I underlined as we went through it. And I say, here's what I loved about this. Here's where I'm challenged about this. Here's where I've seen this at work before. That's what we talk about. After that, we move to the action box. In the action box, you'll see there's a whole section in your book on that because it's the most important part. One of the things that John has said, and I wrote down, and I keep with me all the time, is that 90% of the people who read a book do not know how to apply it. This is application right here. And this is why it works. It doesn't work because the material is, it's values, it's based on Proverbs. So the material's great in that sense, but it's really simple. You're going to look at this and go, wow, this is really simple stuff. It is simple, but it goes as deep as the round table is. If you have complicated people, if you have well-educated people, it'll go that deep. If you have people that are just dealing with the basics, like my friend at work, it'll go that deep. So that's where we're at with that. Once we do that, we're going to take 1 minute to share our box. So what, John, when you were talking about making a public commitment, that's what we're doing. That's our public commitment and accountability. And then once we're done with that, we move on to the next person. So let's walk through this box really quick because you need to understand this. This is the most important thing. Everything else is read and underline. No big deal. But let's understand the box. The box, the first thing it says, rate yourself 1 to 10. 1 is low, 10 is high. Let's try not to do a 5. Here's what happens when we do a 5. We have set the pattern to do a 5 every week. There's nothing transparent in a 5. Most of us are not 5s. We're either better or we're worse. Really? Are we really in the middle? We're better or we're worse. And as soon as we start 5, we 5 everywhere. 5, 5, 5, 5. Every week I'm a 5. Because now my shield is up, right? I'm up. As soon as the shield comes down, now we're being honest. Now we're being authentic. Now we can change. Now we can transform. Let's get real. No 5s. Okay, 1 to 10. Now, here's a little tip for you as a facilitator. Find the area in your life where you're doing poorly and rate off of that. I know that sounds harsh, but as a facilitator, you will not regret it. Now, if it's something that you're just good at and everyone knows you're good at, I don't want you to lie. But what I want you to do is really, here's what my son said to me last week. Dad, you were there. Remember what Jackson said? Jackson's hilarious. I said, Jackson, I got to get you this weekend to get a haircut. I've been saying it for a month. He said, Mom, search your heart. And tell me if there's meaning to your words. So, search your heart. Find some meaning to your words. That's what you need to do. So you look at that and you go, okay, let me think about it. How am I really doing? Today we're going to do listening. How am I really doing with listening at work, with my children, with my spouse, in this room right now with Dawn? How am I really doing with listening? Find the area where you see a room for improvement and go there. That's what you're going to talk about. You don't want to talk about the 9 ways you do it great. Find the one way that you see I can grow. We're looking for growth here. All right. Next, we got the benefits. What's in it for me? That's what people want to know. Why should I do this? So then we're going to say, what is the benefit? It can be something that's in the value, or it can be something that they come up on their own. It doesn't matter. But why would I want to do this? They need to state it out loud. How will it impact my life positively? The third thing is, who do I know? I love who do I know. Because you can sit with people with crossed arms who think this is totally invaluable to me. And as soon as you talk about who do I know, you think about someone in your life who's listened to you that made an impact. As soon as you put a face to it, you've put a value to it. If somebody valued someone who sowed and added value into their life, now you've put a value on the value. It means something to them. So that's really important. Sometimes you'll have people say, I don't know anybody. That's okay. It's all right. If you don't know anybody, then become the somebody that you would like to see. It's all right. All right, the next one is specific action. Most important part. What is the most important part? Specific action. All right, specific action. That's it. This is how we get to specific action, because people don't want to do this. Because like John said, he talked about his 200 souls, right? He didn't want to get there and tell people because now he's accountable. That's scary. So here's the thing, specific action facilitator. This right here is where you earn your facilitation badge. You have to help people get specific. How do you do that? Make sure there's a who, a what, a where, or a when. That's what you got to have. Who, what, where, when. So if I'm going to listen better this week, that's not specific. I have a meeting on Thursday. There's a conference call. I usually check email while I'm on that meeting. This week I'm going to listen. I'm going to take notes. That's specific. I got a who, a what, a where, a when. Okay? It can't just be, I'm going to listen to my spouse this week. I usually don't listen to him very well. That's not specific. Tonight when I go home, I'm going to set aside 15 minutes and I'm going to just ask my spouse questions about their day. I'm going to write out 5 questions I'm going to ask them. That's specific. That's how we come back next way and said, did we have a win or didn't we? Now, here's what I found out about being specific. As soon as you get specific about something, it starts affecting every area of your life. If I make a date, a plan to say, I'm going to be specific with my spouse and I'm going to ask him these 5 questions, I have a heightened awareness for listening. I'm listening better everywhere. But you have to have a plan. People have to be able to come back, and just like Erica did, they have to be able to look at, that's her name, they have to look at you and say, I did it. They need to feel the I did it. If you don't give them the opportunity to feel the I did it, you have cheated them of their time. They have wasted their time. Give them the chance for the win. That's what you're there for. All right, I made that point, right? Okay, so what is a facilitator? Real quick, let me check my time, make sure I'm good. I'm good. All right. Facilitator is someone who enables the process to happen. Specifically, somebody who helps people come to their own solution. We're not a coach. We're not a teacher. We're not mentoring at that point. Now, you may be all those things to someone that you're at the table with, but that isn't the time for it. Right now, I'm allowing the process. I'm making it safe. I'm making it safe for you to be honest. I'm making it safe for you to state your piece. I'm making it safe for you to make an action step. That's all I'm here for. I'm keeping it going, okay? So what will I do if I'm the facilitator? Well, first of all, transformation begins with me. So I'm going to apply the truth to myself. This is what we say. Truth applied to me brings transformation. If I try to put my truth on you, now you feel judged. And you resist the process because no one likes to feel judged. No one. Not a 5-year-old, not a 50-year-old. So by letting the truth only, if I am honest and I talk about how it's affected, this is the one area of your life where you can totally be selfish, right? We're going to be honest about ourselves. If I do that, then I make it safe for you to do that. You don't feel judged. You're just looking where you can grow. That's really important. So that's what I'm here for. I am here to challenge myself and not other people. Sometimes you might sit in a round table and someone gives their action step and you think, what kind of a challenge is that? They can't see that on your face. They may just be testing to see, is it really safe? You don't know where they're at today. So you have to let them do that. They're not afraid to expose their weakness. They share from their own life. This is about self-expression, not confrontation. Real important. That's also a big thing with millennials. Self-expression, not confrontation. This gives them a chance to do that. You love people and you respect their opinions. You let them know that you're there to learn from them. Make sure your group understands. Make sure your group understands that if you didn't learn from them, they deprived you of your education. I mean, let them feel the responsibility of that. If you don't share from your life, just like I'm sharing from my life, you've deprived me of my education. I've got to learn from you. I want to grow. I want to be a better mom. I want to be a better friend. I want to be a better wife. I want to be a better boss. If I don't learn from you, how am I going to do that? Make sure they know that. And they keep everyone on track and follow your 5 steps process. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little group roundtable. There's some other things in here. It's good information. You can read through it, but I know you know how to read, so I'll let you do that. There's a practice script. Gives you an idea of like a walkthrough. So everything's there. But we're going to do a roundtable. And this is a group roundtable, so we're going to do it a little bit differently just so you get the feel of it. And I'm going to ask for some volunteers. And it's going to be really fun because you're sick of hearing from me. Now you can hear from you. Woo! Okay, so what I'm going to do now is we're going to take some volunteers and we're going to walk through the roundtable. Let's explain the areas. The first thing, we have a quote. We read the quote because the quote matters. Someone smarter than me had something good to say, and I want to know what it is. Then we're going to move into, sometimes it's John. We all know he's smarter than me. That's not a problem. Okay, so then we're going to move into kind of a little description of it. We're going to read through those paragraphs, and we're going to underline. We're going to take turns. First paragraph, second paragraph, just move around the circle. Now we're going to go to benefits. That's the what's in it for me. So some people can find a benefit on their own. Some people aren't great at spotting them. We made it easy. You don't have to wonder, why should I do it? It's right here. Next is characteristics. What does it look like? So you'll see things like these people and they, because we're trying to think, who do we know outside of ourselves that does this? Then the steps to follow. This is our springboard for our personal action step, our who, what, where, when. That's how it's divided out. It's really simple. This will not be hard. I think it will be fun. I have one thing to ask, though. I definitely want some of my Guatemala friends to volunteer, but I also want some of you to be brave who haven't done this before and volunteer as well. It's important that you all see that it's not hard, that you all feel it and taste it and do it and be a part of it. And understand, we had a great experience. I mean, it was phenomenal. It was beyond because it was only God. But now we're here to bring you into that experience. I mean, now it's not like we're all holding hands and singing Kumbaya without you. We're all grabbing a hand and saying, let's do this. Let's be transformational leaders together. We got a taste and we want more, but we need a whole lot of people with us. We need you and you and you, and we need all of you. So this is going to be great. Okay, so I need 3 volunteers. Let's go. Got to come here with me. You're up with me? You're up with me? Great. That's 2. I need 1 more. Come on now. Right there. Perfect. All right, 3 volunteers. And I want you guys all to turn to listening. Grab your pen. Now, if we had done it, come on up here with me. You got to come with me. Okay, so if we had done this before, the first thing I would do is I would say, last week, my action step was, and here's what I did. We didn't do that before, so this is our first week. We're starting from new. So we're just going to start reading. I'm going to read the first paragraph. You underline as we go. Here we go. Listening. The most basic of all human needs is the need to understand and the need to be understood. The best way to understand people is to listen to them. Ralph Nichols. Listening is one of the most important skills that we can have. However, because we utilize this particular skill every day, we often take it for granted. Developing our listening abilities can have a tremendous impact on our lives. How well we listen can greatly influence our relationships and our ability to succeed.
Poor communication skills are often the cause when we fail in our personal and professional relationships. Listening is a key component of communication. When we misunderstand the people around, often because we are not listening closely. This is true when we are talking to a coworker as when we are talking to our spouse. When we listen effectively, we can improve our ability to connect and understand the people that we interact with in our daily lives.
The best kind of listening requires us to set aside internal and external distractions so that we can listen without judgment or interruption. In order to listen at this level, we have to be emotionally and mentally invested in the conversation. This means that we are fully engaged and fully present while the other person is talking. We must stop what we are doing, make eye contact, and pay attention to their words. It may sound easy, but most of us do not truly listen at this level on a regular basis.
By becoming better listeners, we can greatly improve our effectiveness in our personal and professional relationships. We can greatly increase our ability to influence, persuade, and negotiate. We can be more effective with our customers. We can collaborate more effectively with team members. We can deepen our family relationships. In every single situation and circumstance, we can benefit from listening to others.
Not only does listening affect our success and achievement, but it also affects our ability to grow. We learn because we listen. We grow because we learn. Good listeners are always seeking to learn from the people around them. They understand that they can learn something from every person they meet. If we value people and seek to understand them, we can absorb their wisdom and experience. Wisdom is earned through the continuous time and energy that we invest in listening, learning, observing, and understanding.
If you practice the value of listening, you will experience these benefits. You will establish mutual respect with the people in your life. When you value what others say, you demonstrate that you value them and their point of view. This will create a shared loyalty and trust. You will develop conflict resolution skills. Even the most volatile people or situations can often be diffused when they have the opportunity to be heard. You will learn and grow as you seek out and listen to the value, knowledge, and experience of other people. You will gain favor and influence with people because they know you care about what they have to say and how they feel. You will create a positive environment by avoiding conflict and misunderstanding.
Characteristics. 1, these people are disciplined listeners. They consciously choose to speak less and listen more. 2, these people are eager to learn. They continually look for the opportunity to grow in every situation and in every conversation. 3, these people seek the truth. They are not satisfied with superficial information, so they ask questions to get clarity and a deeper understanding of conflicts or situations. 4, these people mediate between opposing viewpoints. They are more concerned with what is right than who is right. 5, these people develop close relationships at home and at work. They make others feel valued and important by listening deeply to their needs and desires.
Steps to follow. Number 1, listen with an open mind. Be prepared to hear and consider all sides of an issue. 2, stop what you're doing, make eye contact, and fully engage. Give the other person your undivided attention. Set aside email, phone calls, and other potential distractions. 3, listen objectively. When you approach the conversation with a non-judgmental attitude, you create the trust that is necessary to establish open and honest communication. 4, ask questions. Make sure that you really understand the meaning behind what the other person is saying. Avoid misunderstanding by asking follow-up questions. Paraphrase or summarize the other person's thoughts to show that you are listening and to make sure that you truly understand their perspective. 5, avoid the temptation to think what you're going to say next. Instead, pay attention to everything the person is saying before you formulate your response.
Thank you very much. All right. Now, I'm going to ask for some help for some other people. I'm going to kind of walk around here a little bit. I'm going to tell you one thing I underline because I'm facilitating. I'm going to need 3 other people to share something they underline and why. So if I had a pen, which I didn't take up with me, which was bad, but if I would have underlined something, one of the things that really sticks out to me in this one is the best kind of listening requires us to set aside internal and external distractions so that we can listen without judgment or interruption. That is a tough one for me because I think I'm a very discerning person, and I kind of think I know what everybody's going to say next. And sometimes I'm really wrong. And so it would really benefit me to keep that in mind and to listen from a different point of view, and that would be to listen from their point of view. I think right now, sometimes I'm tempted to listen from my point of view, like how does everything affect me, instead of thinking about how is everything affecting them, what's it coming out of. So that was kind of my little takeaway on that. I'm going to pick on my friend Lisa because she's my friend and she's a roundtable facilitator. So Lisa, can you share one thing?
Yes, I underlined that we grow because we learn, and that learn because we listen. You know, we don't gain anything if we don't have our mouths shut and our ears open. So,
Thank you. All right, somebody else over here. Yes, thank you.
I underlined when we listen effectively, we can improve our ability to connect and understand the people that we interact with in our day to day lives. So I underlined that because I, like you, have a teenage son, and I sometimes think I'm on my phone or my iPad and I'm not listening well enough. And I have staff, and sometimes my staff take a long time to tell me their problem. And I find myself checking email or whatever. So, but I need to change that because I need to be an effective leader for them.
Somebody else. One more over here. Oh, great. Don't worry, I'll catch you.
Well, I picked out skills. It's something that we need to practice. I was thinking about coach over here. Football teams have to practice to get better. And that if we don't do that, we start taking that skill and our communication for granted.
I underlined avoid the temptation to think about what you're going to say next. Instead, pay attention to everything the person is saying before you formulate your response. And I have a tendency of racing ahead in the conversation and so being intentional about pulling back and really hearing what the person is saying without trying to formulate, that's something that's critical for me.
All right, see, that was pretty painless, right? Just kind of go through, everybody share something and why. And then as the facilitator, usually I'm making some notes on some things I learned from people because there's some valuable stuff there. I mean, Siobhan, is that how I say your name properly? Siobhan. When Siobhan was talking about racing ahead, boy, do I identify with that. I do that. Like I said, I think I already know. So I'm 10 steps down the road. Only I might have went down the wrong road. So it's important to I really identify with that. So that gives you an idea of how that flows. It's just a minute. It's not like someone's sermon or anything. It's just a minute. And one of the things we always talk about is model the minute. Model the minute. As the facilitator, it's important that you always do what you want everybody else to do. They may not always follow, but you at least want to model it so they know what's expected. Now we're going to move to our action box. Okay, we're going to go through this together. The first thing is rate ourselves 1 to 10. Now remember, I said facilitators really look for your growth area. If you know that other people at your table are going to know that, well, listening, when they sit down with me, I'm usually pretty good. What they don't know is here. Then you can say, yeah, I know at work when I'm in these situations, I might be like a 7. But, man, there's this area of my life where I'm like a 3. Okay, so keep that in mind. And then we'll do your benefit. So what benefit would you like to see? And I need you all to do this because I'm going to go to this side of the room this time and look for some people to help me out by sharing their action box. And who do you know? What do you admire about them? And then your specific, who, what, where, when. So let's go ahead and fill that out. We'll take about 2 minutes. Okay, you're still, oh, sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. If you're still finishing up, that's okay. Go ahead and keep going. I'm going to do my example as a facilitator. I would go first. Here's how I rated myself. I think I'm a 4. And I wish I could give myself different ratings. I'm sure there's situations where I do about a 7, maybe with a friend or something serious. But I think I'm about a 4. And this is an improvement because the last time I did, I gave myself a 2. So I'm on my way up, which I think is good. But here's why I gave myself a 4. There are times I don't want to listen. See, listening is a choice. And there is a couple situations that I am involved with at work. There's one certain person that I really don't like to listen to. And so all I see is my opportunity for growth there. I don't like to listen to him, period. That's just honest. So my benefit would be, I said positive environment. Because here's what happens. It's not just me, I'm setting the tone. I'm the CEO. This person that is someone that, like, they don't work in my company. I kind of am contracted with them. And so this person, everybody has a negative opinion about them because I get negative about our interactions. And so if I want the environment to be more positive in that certain circumstance, the only one who can change that is me, and I need to do that. And I would like to be a positive. And I have been working on this one. So 2 to 4, it's getting better. But I saw room for an improvement. Here is who I know. My husband. My husband is really a good listener, which I know that's crazy. Most wives probably don't say that. But my husband's a great listener. And what I admire about him is he is never satisfied with the superficial. Those quick one-word answers, the number looks like this, because he runs half of our state. So, and we work together. So if I say he's a good listener, you must know I know, right? But what he does is he's always looking for the why, the reason, the what's underneath it, what's driving. And I really admire that about him. He's not knee-jerk reactor. He processes, thinks before he speaks, hears. So he does a great job. Yay, Jeff. My specific action. Okay, here's my specific action. I've worked on some of these with this guy that I don't want to listen to, like stopping what I'm doing and open mind and being objective. But here's what I haven't done. Shame on me. I haven't really asked him questions. And you know why I haven't asked him questions? Because I've been shut down and I don't want to hear from him, right? I don't want to hear from him, so I don't ask him questions because then I'll have to listen longer. And I need to ask him questions because maybe this will build relationship that we need. And so that's my ask questions. So I want to get more specific. So when am I going to do that? I have a call with him on Friday at 1 o'clock. I am going to, even if I don't know that he has the answers, I don't care. I'm going to make some questions before Friday at 1 o'clock. And when we talk, I'm going to ask him some questions. So that's my specific. Now, next week, if we came back, I would definitely be able to tell you if I wrote down the questions and asked them on Friday at 1 o'clock or if I didn't. And do I think this will help me grow as a listener for this? Yes, I do. And if I can build a better relationship with this guy and have a more positive environment for my staff, it will make a difference in my life. And it will help me grow as a leader. Okay, I'm going this way. I need a volunteer. What? Who's brave? Come on. Over there. I got a brave one. Yes.
Okay, I gave myself a 3 because I tend to listen a lot with a bias. In things where I feel like I'm stronger than others, I start with an assumption that I don't have anything to learn from them. And so there are a couple of specific areas where I need to grow. Is leadership topics and compliance in my day-to-day job. I know that I've learned a lot, but I can still learn more. And so what benefits? I would learn more from people that I think I cannot learn from them. And I recognize that I'm wrong in that assumption. Who do I know that demonstrates this well? One of the persons that I work with in the John Maxwell team, he's very objective in his questioning, he's asking questions. I'm always amazed how much information he can get out of people through questions and how much he actually can learn from those questions. So that's something that I admire in him. And what specific actions? This week I have 3 conversations with 3 individuals, and I will consciously make the decision to not assume that I know more than them. And I will listen more and ask questions.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. All right, who else? Come on, you know you want to. Ah, yeah, see, I knew you wanted to. All right.
I graded myself 2.5, 3. I also very much like you and very much like what he said. Sometimes we're looking so far ahead into the discussion. I started at point A, and in my head, I started at point C or D, and you're still on A, and I'm not listening to you. I'm not listening. You could have answered whatever question or whatever, but I'm so far ahead of you, or ahead of the conversation, that I'm not listening. It becomes blah, blah, blah. Charlie Brown. The benefit would be establishing effective communication. I need to hear what you're saying to move on to the next thing, to understand what you're saying, so that I know you understand what I'm saying. It was very difficult to find a person who really listens in my head, because I think I surround myself with people who are kind of like me. But I would say my pastor is one. I would also say my friend, but that's because she's also John Maxwell team, and so she's been taught how to listen. That's okay, right? Yes, yes, yes. It is rubbing off on us, and we are growing. My specific way to attack this is on the ride home today. I will try to stay awake and actively listen to the conversation, actively participate in the conversation. I want you to know that I do care about what you're saying, and if I'm like here, that shows that I don't care. And so I want to show you that I care, and so I have to put forth an effort to not fall asleep and to actively participate in the listening process.
Thank you. Perfect. Very good. One more, and we'll take a quick break. Back there. Okay. I'm going to jog to the back of the room because I need to get my workout in today in case I eat dessert, right? Okay. Yeah, we do. This is good. Yes, we go together.
Hello. I gave myself a 2. I don't always let people complete their sentences before I want to jump in and add to the conversation, or really just, it's interrupting, I know, but I think I'm adding to the conversation. Sometimes that's because I'm afraid I'll forget what I want to say, and they'll move on to something else, and I'll go, but what, that, Chris has learned, I go back to that other point. But the benefits would be that I would understand others better. That's also showing people more respect, I believe. And who do I admire? That would be my husband. He listens to me, and he waits until he knows I've taken a breath and completed, well, actually several breaths, to know that I've completed my thought before he adds to or gives me feedback in the conversation. And my action step is I'm going to pull one. I'm going to try to declare that the next 5 people I meet today, that I won't interrupt you before you finish your thought, before I add to it. So that's my action step. So y'all keep me accountable on that, okay?
You. Thank you. Thanks, everybody, so much. We're going to take a quick break, but I want you to be prepared for when we come back. When we come back, we're going to divide your table up. You should have 3 to 5 at a time. And then we will do a quick round table where we will choose a facilitator at your table, and you're going to do it all yourself. I'll walk around to help, but just so you can really dive in. So you'll see the next one is the law of intentionality, which is from John's books, 15 Laws of Leadership. And you can go through the law of intentionality. We'll do the same thing. So take 10 minutes, come back here, be ready to go. Someone's going to facilitate. We're all going to learn. It's going to be great. Thank you.